Today I'm trying to get all of my morning chores done a little bit earlier. I have a super fun trip planned today that I'm going to take you guys along on.
Come on, Goose!
The last thing I do before I head out this morning is give everybody the rest of their breakfast rations. I'll be bringing the boys into their dry lot, and then Ziggy, Primrose, and Scarlet will be going out. It's kind of nice to be here a little bit early this morning, and it looks like I'm right on schedule thanks to Tiny.
Hey, Tiny! Come on! Stewie. Gussie. Come on, Tiny. Come on. Come around. Zig!
Since I'm not buying any more horses right now, this summer it's been a little bit tricky to take you guys to auctions with me. I've been to a few for Mustangs, but today we are heading to one of my favorite auctions that is not too far from my house. I wanted to get here extra early because I did want to see the preview this year. The way I shop for horses in this price point is basically the same as when I'm looking at loose horses. I want to get the best horse possible for the least amount of money.
On the trail course.
One nice thing about all of these horses that I'm going to be looking at today is they are pre-vetted with x-rays and they've had a lameness exam done. This sale does an excellent job at presenting really high quality horses to the buyers.
The arena, this is Lightsabers and Smoke. The 2018 AQHA and APHA buckskin stands at 14-3.
I was just getting situated when I saw this handsome horse come in the ring. All of the horses that are available today will do a modified ranch, reining, cow work, and trail pattern this morning. It looks like they're starting off with a ranch horse pattern. This is very similar to reining. They just do a few less spins. While I really do like to see the horses turn around, something that's important for me when I'm deciding between a very expensive horse and a very, very expensive horse is how well they're going to change leads. That horse was really nice and correct, but I bet we're going to see some today that will change prettier than that guy. A lot of the horses in this sale are really pretty. They have a lot of palominos and buckskins this year with quite a few paints. Other than a few little things that I've seen online, I haven't done a deep dive into the catalog this year. In previous years, I did shop for a few friends and clients, and this year I'm just picking out a few horses and sending them the information. They have online and phone bidding at this sale, so you don't have to be present to buy one of these horses. When you're spending a large amount of money, though, it helps to get real eyes on the horses, even if they are pre-vetted. This is about as close as you're going to get to a real-life trail course this close to an arena. With the addition of the trail course, it makes it much easier to decide if the horse that's for sale is going to be one that works for you. Let's see what a few of these horses can do.
Lot number 9, Lightsabers and Smoke, just finishing up the trail. Turner Performance Horses, this is CW Cool Cat Ichi.
One thing about this sale that is so cool is that in addition to these horses being pretty flashy to look at, they are bred very well. This is a 6-year-old son of $6 million sire Cat Ichi. And it looks like he definitely inherited some of his sire's moves. All of these horses have different skill sets, but it's nice to see so many horses in one place that can do a variety of disciplines. And you guys know how much I love a little brown cow pony. After getting a little refreshment, I borrowed someone's catalog to see that there was a son of WR This Cat Smart coming up. He is one of my favorite sires, and I used to ride a lot of his babies when I was training this kind of horse. If I was going to get serious about picking out the best horses for the best price, I needed to go up to the office and get a sale catalog for myself. This is the 9th annual sale. They used to have it at a place that's actually closer to my house, but this facility is really pretty. It is the perfect setup to hold a sale like this. This summer has also been a little bit odd. It's hot here, but the temperature is not too bad. The grass is still green and it feels a lot more like fall than summer, to be honest. After securing my very own catalog, I went to go see if there were any horses around the back. Today is actually the second preview day. Yesterday, prospective buyers were able to come out and actually ride any horse that they were thinking of bidding on. Since I've been doing this for so long, I can pick out pretty good horses without ever having to ride them. This sale can be a little bit tricky because the very nice horses can go for up to 6 figures here. Any horse that goes for less than $50,000 I consider a deal at this sale. When I made my way back to the stall area, this horse did catch my eye.
Hey, buddy.
He had a big bald face and 2 pretty blue eyes. One very interesting thing about this horse is his grandsire, Colonel Smoking Gun, was born deaf. I don't think they have quite figured it out yet, but horses with a bald face and 2 blue eyes can have trouble hearing. But it looks like this guy can hear exactly what's going on. Having a deaf horse is not necessarily even a handicap. In some cases, they can actually be much better arena and show horses. Even though a lot of these horses are reining bred, they do a multitude of disciplines. Each horse has a little flyer outside their stall, and a lot of them that I've seen have gone under English tack. Something that I noticed this year that is different than years before is that there are quite a few mares here. While wandering back in the stalls, I did find the most gorgeous gypsy vanner. I'm not gonna lie, these horses are not my favorite. They are pretty wide. Usually they're too big and clunky to do anything cool, so I'll be really excited to see what this one can do. Most of these horses do come from pretty far away, so it's a good thing to get back here in the stalls and see how they adjust to being in a strange place. Here is another gypsy vanner that's selling today. These gypsies used to be very popular because they are generally a little less excitable than some of the typical cow horses that you see in Montana. I think because a lot of them have gotten so expensive, they may have fallen out of favor. It looks like the majority of the horses at the sale today are between 14 and 15 hands. While I love a nice clean stall, you guys know me, I always like to check the outputs of these horses. Since these horses have been hauled extensively, I would be surprised to see anything odd in their outputs. This is a really cool looking gelding by Inferno 66. He had a few really high selling horses from last year's sale, so I'll be interested to see how this one goes. Even though there are quite a few buckskins and palominos, there are some very pretty plain brown horses. Most of them do have a bunch of chrome, which makes them a little bit more flashy. There were a few horses that were very similarly colored to Prim. Overall, this looks like a really nice bunch of horses that they put together for the sale this year. It looked like they had a few overflow stalls. These horses don't appear to be getting ready for the sale.
You snorting at?
Since I now have my catalog, I can go back and see a few of the horses that I really liked earlier in the day. This was that very first buttermilk buckskin that we saw. I'm thinking he'll go for a pretty price. I did get briefly distracted when I stumbled upon the Tack trailer that had been brought to the sale. I know it's not for everybody, but I get really excited about this kind of stuff. I don't talk about it very much, but I did go to saddle building school. I've built a few saddles and a bunch of tack. One thing that I would love to get into is braiding rawhide. This always seems to happen, but I picked myself out the most expensive boselle that they had at the sale. Even the more budget-friendly ones were pretty expensive, but that is definitely a talent I don't have, so it's worth the price. One thing that I have been looking for is a really nice set of weighted reins. You cannot find reins like this at a regular tack store because the way the maker cuts them, they use the thicker part of the hide for the end of the reins. The reins were all really reasonably priced, so I think I might come back a little bit later and pick up a pair or two. I am very picky about my reins, and these have to be some of the best ones that I've seen in quite a while. I have been wanting to buy a pair of reins just to put on a halter so when I start horses I won't have to tie my lead rope around. These are meant for just loping around a horse when you're warming up, but I think they're going to be too heavy for the colts that I start. They were super nice. I picked up a card so in case I run out of time and don't pick up anything, I can order it online. As I was thumbing through the catalog, I marked a few horses that I wanted to take a look at. And then, out the corner of my eye, I recognized a horse that I knew quite well. It seems like such a long time ago, but I used to work for the breeder that owned Bluegrass Cat, and Hide is Shiny was one of my favorite horses that they owned. She is actually half sister to Whiplash, and so that was kind of cool to see, and I'm definitely going to have to go find him and see what he's like. A few of the horses that are owned by the Turners who put on this sale are in a bigger barn. I love the setup of this barn. I believe the stalls are somewhere around 30 by 30. The horses can have their own space and they can see another horse friend through the feeder. If you have to keep a fancy horse like this safe in a stall, I think this is a really good way to do it. This is that Cat Itchy gelding that we saw earlier. While I was moseying through the barn, I spotted this really pretty gelding. He was the perfect size with excellent conformation, so I had to give him a little closer look. I wish I would have paid closer attention to the whorls on these horses, but this guy had one right in the center of his eyes that was actually a wheat swirl, so it was long up and down. Here is that really pretty buttermilk buckskin who looks like he might actually be a dun after a close inspection. This horse was really flashy with the big bald face and the 4 white socks. As I wandered around looking for more horses, it became pretty clear that most of them were down at the arena ready to show off all of their moves. I'm pretty interested to see that little gelding by Bluegrass Cat. Every year when I go to this sale, I do miss being around this quality of horses. I decided to head over to the trail course to get a better look. From the bleachers, this did not look that extreme, but I think this slope down is pretty steep. After navigating the steep slope, horses had to walk over a log, and then they were met with a stream that they had to go across. It's nice to see some fancy horses with real world skills.
Look at here, lot number 21.
The vast majority of these horses are bred like modern day show horses, but this little buckskin had more of a foundation bloodline. He reminded me a lot of Prim, not only because of his color, but because of his body shape, and he seemed really intent on going out on the trail. This horse appeared to be pretty mindful and happy about being outside of the arena. I'll be really curious to see how this horse sells. I didn't see him go in the arena, but just given his breeding, he might be a little bit less desirable than some of the other horses. He navigated all of the obstacles with ease. He actually looked very happy while doing it as well. Pretty much all of the horses that I am seeing today have no trouble being away from other horses, which is nice if you ever want to go riding out by yourself. This guy was definitely pretty handy, and I am going to mark him so I see exactly what he sells for this afternoon. I was looking everywhere for that little red roan horse, and then out of the corner of my eye, I spied him loping around one of the faraway pastures. Without a secondary warm-up arena, this is what everybody had to do to make sure their horses were ready for their big debut. At these sales, I do tend to do a little bit of creeping around to see how people treat their horses when no one's watching, and this guy gets a big gold star by his name.
Have you seen my mom? I haven't seen her.
I could barely contain my excitement when I saw the cutest little pony ride past. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he is a mini gypsy cob. I will be really interested to see how that little guy goes in the arena, because he was being really well mannered out and about.
Designed by WR, this cat smart out of CDS. Masterpiece by CD Olina.
I'm really excited to see this horse go. If I was going off of pedigree alone, this is the one I would pick. It was nice to see a horse riding straight up in the bridle. This requires a very high level of training. While some people may think that this horse is rather plain looking, he is breathtaking to me. This guy had a very nice lead change. It was front to back, but that is just me being pretty nitpicky. He is definitely one of my favorites so far, and if I was picking a horse for myself, I think this guy would be super fun. When that pony came back around, I scurried over to see him. I'm not sure how well he'll sell, but he is pretty darn cute. Thankfully, I didn't have to wait long to see the little red roan horse work in the arena.
AQHA Red Roan. He stands at 15-1. He's sired by Bluegrass Cat.
I did get a chance to speak with his owner. This gelding is used to doing actual work on a ranch, so he is very good at roping. He's gonna move a little bit different than some of the fancier show-ready horses that we see today. Horses that spend their time out on the range looking for rattlesnakes and gopher holes are gonna hold themselves a little bit differently than a show horse in an arena. As I suspected, this horse really began to shine when he was put on a cow. Most of the buyers here today are not looking for using horses. But if you needed a horse to take to a branding and impress your friends, this is the one I would buy. I have a feeling that this particular horse is going to be undervalued today, so it might be a good opportunity to get one at a really good price. As I sat and watched each horse come in, they got prettier as they went along. I'm really glad I don't actually have to buy a horse today because it would be a pretty tricky decision for me. Like any good horse operation, there's always a supervisor lurking about. I think this dog was a little bit upset he wasn't getting to help move any of the cattle today. I know you guys think that I'm ridiculous when I say that Tiny really does keep me on track, but it is not an uncommon thing in this environment to see animals that get upset when you don't stay on schedule. One horse that caught my eye was one of the mares selling today. This girl looked so much like Prim. She even had a little bit of sass when she was riding around. I think this girl had maybe a prettier head and neck than Prim, but it was really hard to find a horse that was not good looking at this sale. Just when I thought the horses couldn't get any nicer, this guy came in. When I'm shopping for horses, it is pretty easy to pick out the most athletic horse, the most well-bred horse, but there is a little something special that takes an eye to develop. Most people watching would not notice these things, but I have learned over the years that there are a few aspects to watching these horses go that cannot be ignored. This horse was absolutely beautiful and he had some really pretty maneuvers. But the one thing that really impressed me about this guy was all of the things that he did right when things went wrong. I slowed it down for you guys so you could see when he goes to lope off, he's actually on the incorrect lead. He starts off on the right lead and then automatically changed to the left or correct lead. So he's on the right lead there and then he switches on his own to the left lead. I can guarantee you most people watching these horses would not have noticed that. This horse is very good leaded and has pretty changes. I'll slow it down again for you guys. He is traveling on the left lead. He's cued to move over laterally and then a switcheroo happens mid-air, which a lot of you guys are probably going to have a hard time seeing. He changed front to back, which is not 100% correct, but it was really pretty nonetheless. The other thing that I noticed about this horse right away was how respectful he was of his rider. He was able to rate the cattle well, and then as he was preparing to rope, he stood quietly, even dropping a rein. I'm not sure if this was on purpose or accidental, but it really showed off how good-minded this horse is. All of the little accidental things that went on as this horse was showing really impressed me, and this is definitely the horse that I would be trying to buy if I was purchasing one for myself. I'm guessing this horse is going to go above the average, probably somewhere between the $60,000 to $80,000 range. I caught the tail end of one of the gypsy vanners and then I continued on checking out some of the gorgeous horses that were available. This horse was kind of funny. He changed leads once and then changed them again. A little bit too overexcited about it. Here he is on his left lead, and then he does have a very pretty correct change going over to the right lead. The little mini gypsy is coming up next, and I can't wait to see what he can do. I'm not sure exactly how old this cowgirl was, but she was doing one heck of a job showing off her pony. This little meatball reminds me so much of Stewie. This horse I think is around 13 hands, and Stewie is about 4 inches taller. This guy did the same exact pattern as all of the big horses. He was packing a rope around, and I was excited to see him on the cattle. He definitely did not disappoint. Some people can have a really hard time valuing ponies, but I think after seeing what I witnessed in the preview that if this little pony sells for less than $40,000, it would be absolutely criminal. He's got to be one of the nicest ponies that I've ever seen at a sale. With their calf being almost as big as the pony, it was proving a bit tricky to get a rope on him. But this little cowgirl could really get after it. That pony was so stinking cute and super broke. I sent some messages out to a few friends who were looking for a really nice pony. Even though it wasn't lunchtime, I settled in with a cheeseburger and some cheese fries. Before I plop over from dehydration, I'm gonna go find a shady spot and eat my lunch and rehydrate. The temperature was perfect when there was shade from the clouds, but otherwise it was a little bit too toasty for me. I finished up lunch just in time to see the fancy gypsy vanner go, and boy was I blown away by how handy this big horse was. This is a Sabino gypsy. I don't think I've ever seen one this color before. I didn't have high hopes for this guy, but he had a beautiful lead change. I'll slow this one down for you guys as well. He has some really good lateral movement, and then the cue to switch, and voila. This horse was seriously impressive, and then I saw him stop. Dang. I've seen a few pretty handy gypsies do the reining maneuvers, but this guy was actually really cowy as well. He is definitely standing out against all of these other cow ponies, but he just didn't have the juice to keep up with a fresher cow. A really neat, pretty horse that is probably going to fit in a variety of homes. This is one that I think is going to be pretty close to the top of the sale. The last horse in the preview was my kind of gelding. Pretty little brown horse with a little star and a beautiful lead change. He reminded me a lot of Little Gus.
From here, I'm going to bid you adieu. I'm going to head up to the sale barn. Get ready. We got us a great sale coming up here real soon. See you up north for the sale.
In order to show off all of the horses to the best of their ability, they did do a few runs for roping practice. I'm really glad I got to see this roan go again. He is really good at his job. There's getting to be a lot of money in the rope horses these days, so I'll be interested to see if that changes what these guys go for. I don't remember seeing so many women rope last year, but these ladies had some impressive skills. Even the fancy gypsy had a go. I've never been very interested in team roping because I'm too afraid of cutting off my own fingers, but if I wanted to get into breakaway, I would be looking really hard at this roan horse. For anyone that's not aware, the breakaway roping is a little bit different than team roping, where you rope the two ends of the calf. Instead of having to dally off your rope, breakaway roping, you just let go and then that signals your time. Here is an example of that. It's actually something that Prim was bred to do, and she should be very good at it. So in the future, hopefully I'll get more practice. Really, if you want to haul around and rodeo, you've got to have quite a bit of free time, and I've got too many horses that need my care at home. With the sale starting in about 10 minutes, I better hurry up and get situated in my seat. I have a pretty good list going. I messaged a bunch of my friends that were looking for horses. I'm not going to bid on anything, so this should be a fun sale for me. Going to a horse auction is so much more enjoyable when all of the horses are very well taken care of. With none of these horses needing to be rescued, I can sit back and just enjoy the auction. I'm not sure that the turnout is as good as it was last year, but there's really no way to know how many people are planning on bidding online or over the phone. After a few announcements, we were ready to get to the sale.
Without further ado, let's bring in a little while ago. He'll tuck his nose, he watches a cow, he's going to start the sale on. And I'll take it, let you bid. I got 20,000, 30,000, 30,000, 5, 30, good. I sold the first one today, $50,000 right there, put them on Eddie Ray. Thank you very much. Bring another look.
I'm not sure which part of the competition today this horse won, but the little neck ribbons are from that. After a couple horses sold, it looked like we were on to our first really big sale of the day.
Shine like a star. He moves. Right quick, hurry, gotta go. Do it.
It's always cool to see these high dollar horses sell, so I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy the show.
Yes, and a 1, 2, 50. Here's another one of the great ones offered to you by the good folks in Turner Performance. 15 pounds. It's 15 pounds. 20, 7, 8, 9. You'll do it. One little kid. That little horse right there.
Most of the sellers use their time in the ring to show off these horses and their trainability.
42. He's the perfect horse for that guy. 3.
For a lot of these sellers, it's a family affair with everybody doing their fair share.
I promise you, this cowboy right here, he can swing rope, he can stick it on the pump. And I gotta tell you, I hate to pick favorite. This is an outstanding horse right here. UHA and APHA. This horse right here is absolutely excellent.
I was not surprised when this guy ended up selling for a hefty 6-figure price tag.
Sold $120,000 right there. Give me that. Thank you. Deal for everybody. All right. This will might be a $15 15 minutes. He's
This is that Cat Itchy gelding, and he ended up being a steal at $42,000.
Moving right here, lot number 21.
This is that more ranchy bred gelding. I was sure he was going to sell lower, but he ended up going for $60,000. After sitting through a bunch of the horses, I decided it was time for another little snack. I missed exactly how much this one went for, but it was somewhere around $50,000. I was alerted that my fries were ready and I had to skitter on out to the food truck. As soon as I got back in, it was time for that really nice WR This Cat is Smart gelding to sell. He was a super nice horse, but I was a little bit surprised he went for $230,000.
Now 100. Now 100. Look here. Look here. Down to 100 and it'll shut the door on them. I almost guarantee it. 55, 7. Yes or no? Right. Do it. If there are hops on the ground, and you can where are you getting all that?
I'm not sure why this horse didn't sell as well as the others. He was one of my favorites and he went for only $30,000, which is a steal compared to some of the other prices. Up next was the other WR This Cat Smart, with the last one selling for $230,000. It'll be interesting to see how much this one goes for. For $200,000 less dollars than the last one, this seems like a pretty good deal. I thought this little roan would sell for around $50,000. But somebody got a really good deal at $37,000.
14-3 delivers. He signed by Holly.
It was at this point where I started to think that maybe I could use a little bit of our house money to buy a new pony. There were some really nice horses that were going for relatively cheap. Up next was the buckskin mare that reminded me of Prim. She was also fairly reasonable at $42,000. This is that really pretty Palomino Gunner on Ice that I thought was going to sell a little bit higher than the average, with a selling price of $95,000. I definitely guessed right on this one. I'm really excited to see this horse sell. He was my favorite from the preview.
This is a real nice horse. He's calm and patient and being a uniform.
Even though this horse sold for $49,000, I do still think he was a little bit undervalued. At this point in the sale, I was getting a little bit bummed out. I don't have $49,000 to spend on a horse. But a new pair of reins is definitely in the budget. After picking out the perfect pair, I went back and forth about what I actually needed at the barn. I decided to be very practical and picked up a pair of roping reins that I'm going to put on a halter. I decided, even though I really liked these, they were probably just too heavy for my colts. These heavy roping reins I can put on a halter and they should work perfectly. They had some really nice options at this place, and I ended up getting 2 sets of reins and a curb strap. The shopping did lift my spirits a little bit, and I made it back to my seat just in time to see that little pony sell.
This is a super, super nice game. Sired by Inferno 66.
You're 120. Two, you good? I sold him $120,000 right here, put him on pass.
This sale is always going to be one of my favorite. The quality of the horses is unmatched, and even though they do have a few copycat sales, I will continue to keep coming back to this one. I'll probably never buy a horse from this sale, but it's not out of the question that I could develop my own super fancy horse that needs to be represented at a sale like this.
I sold him $100,000 right there, put him on pass. I keep $100,000.
He is just lovely, short, pretty.
42, y'all do it? Tack, 42. Sold him $40,000 right there, put him on pass. 40,000. Thank you very much. We look forward to being right back here in the great state of Montana a year from now. So on behalf of Doug, Seth, all the sales crew, thank you very much. It's been a great event. God bless y'all. Have a safe trip home.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.